everybody, it's Kristen coming into you from the Book Expo America show floor, and today I am joined by Chip Kidd, who just is going to premiere his first ever children's book called Go, A Kid's Guide to Graphic Design. It looks already fantastic, and thank you so much, Chip, for joining us today.
Well, thank you for your interest.
So let's just jump right into it. What inspired you to do a children's novel about graphic design?
Well, I owe it all to my editor at Workman, a woman named Raquel Jaramillo, who is better known to her readers as R.J. Palacio, author of a book called Wonder. But in her previous life, she was sort of did what I did, was she designed book covers. She was really great and did all the stuff for Thomas Pynchon. And she just called me up out of the blue like 3 years ago and said, let's have lunch. And I said, okay. And I thought we were just going to talk about designing book covers or something. And she said, well, I'm at Workman now and I'm an editor, and I think you should do a book to teach graphic design to kids.
Okay, I have to say, as one who started my career in graphic design, it would have been lovely to have this kind of book to guide me.
You know, we really are thinking that this, in its own way, is uncharted territory. It's like there's lots of books for kids to teach them about color theory and drawing and this kind of stuff. But to put all the components of graphic design together into one place for like a 10-year-old, as far as we know. I mean, I researched to see what there was. I mean, I already knew there really wasn't anything specifically like that, which is part of why I said yes. Because I love to, there's no point in putting 3 years of your life into a project like this if you feel it's been done before. So, and then it became about, all right, so what are you going to tell them?
Yep, and I can honestly say, from having collected a lot of typography and design books, a lot of them are geared more towards adults.
Right.
And one question I would have is this a book that families can get involved in? Is there something for parents to glean out of it as well?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I didn't want it to feel like a textbook. It's supposed to be fun. And a lot of these typography books are really great, but they're just so clinical. Yeah, this is definitely the whole family getting involved. The final section of the book is 10 projects that we're suggesting for the kids or the readers to do, and some of them will require parental assistance and recontextualizing something's color. So take a banana and paint it red. Take an orange and paint it blue. Now what do they mean? It's thinking about things differently. But of course it's like, well, if you're going to spray paint it, get mom's and dad's permission and that kind of stuff. But yeah, and collecting typography, collecting graphic design, it doesn't have to cost you anything. It's ticket stubs, it's things that you would normally throw away, and saving them and organizing them so, again, you recontextualize their meaning. But it's as much about like making a collage as it is making a statement about something.
Yep, I can honestly say, or even just walking down the street and taking photographs,
right.
Especially in New York City with all of the signage here.
Well, yeah, I mean, New York, which is great. I was trying to think about kids all over the country and what they do and don't have access to. And I mean, even though today I think it would be impossible to do this book and completely ignore the computer. Mm-hmm. We don't do that, but it's not a software manual at all. Okay. It is about ideas. So, one exercise is if something looks interesting when it's really small, blow it up huge, and it will look even better. So, but that's a concept as opposed to scan it at 300 DPI and then blow it up 500% and then, blah, blah, blah. That we sort of leave them to sort of figure out. And they're figuring that stuff out anyway. It's really more about how to think about it.
And that's wonderful, because a lot of times you can get bogged down by the technical details. So it's great to have something that's all about the concept, because at the end of the day, that's the heart of any sort of graphic design piece, which is awesome.
Exactly.
Now, with all of the cover art that you've done over the years, whether it's been comics or in the more traditional novel setting, are there any books that you've read that you've really loved, or are there ones outside of the ones you've designed that have always spoken to you?
There's always, I've been doing this for 26, I've been in publishing for 26 years and counting. I'm going to be 27 in October when this book comes out. My God, everything. It's been such a pleasure of the job is to read books, frankly, that perhaps I would not have read. One of the first big books I worked on was, for the design, was Love in the Time of Cholera by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. It's like, talk about starting at the top. But it's the first-time writers, the people that you discover, and we're always reading stuff that's not going to be published for like 6 months. So I just read Lori Moore's new book, which is amazing, and that comes out in the fall, and it's just constant. It's constant.
Awesome. Well, fair enough. You can't always decide. I'm sure that it's sort of like deciding amongst your children which one of them is your favorite.
Yeah, no, and I'm lucky enough to have been, like I said, doing this long enough that it's impossible to pick just one thing, even among something that I worked on.
Okay, well, I will, as my final question, I will ask you to pick one thing, and that would be, what is your favorite color to work in?
My favorite color to work in? Well, obviously color theory we really had to go into in the book, and I love primary colors, and I love working with variations on that. So like if you let's say you had paint, and so you had some red paint, some yellow paint, and some blue paint in the primary colors, and then you put a little bit of black in each one, and then you mix it all up, and then you get something that's more subdued, but it's still the primary colors. Or if you did it the opposite, if you put a little bit of white in and mix it up, and now it's more, I guess we call it pastel by definition. But I've always loved the primary colors and the combination thereof. But there's also there's something about red, black, and white that's really interesting too, especially for, look right there. It works, and it lends it can lend a classicism to something that maybe otherwise would look more pop.
No, that is an excellent answer, and I have to say I could never decide amongst any of the colors either. So.
Right. And you also have to think about the content. And that's a big part of the book, is that the better you define the problem, the better you'll be able to define the answer. And to me, for the cover of this book, primary colors, because it's primary ideas about graphic design, but then I wanted to throw in some irony, and so that's the stop sign that says go, and that for me was an intriguing image to teach kids about thinking about what a message means, and well, should they stop or should they go? Well, that's up to you.
Well, excellent. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us, Chip, and I wish you a fantastic time at Book Expo.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.